They say music is life, so I give them the Cha-Cha Music Review podcast. Turned up the volume, gave them the time of their lives. They said they wanted new artists, I gave them the Cha-Cha Spotlight series. They wanted deep music conversations, I plugged them into the Cha-Cha Let's Talk music series. They are crazy about the hit makers, so I hit them with the Cha-Cha Hit Makers series. And for the albums I know they shouldn't miss, I blessed them with the Cha-Cha Album Review series. I created the Cha-Cha EP compilation series, so they will have a taste of the best of EPs. They should tell their friends, you should let your family know, we should let everyone who cares about African music know. Hafeestonova is back in the game, and you can catch me every Saturday amplifying the African sounds by bringing the best of African music to your ears. I am your musical plug, the creator of the Energy Force, and this is the Cha-Cha Music Review podcast.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and members of the Cha-Cha Nation. My name is Hafeestonova, your musical plug, creator of the Energy Force, and I'm back with another Cha-Cha album review series on the Cha-Cha Music Review podcast. I'm not going to be doing this alone. I have, one of my favorite, podcasters in the compound with me, and they've been here several times, so I don't even need to waste time. Let me just, call their name straight up. I have Wega and Nelson of the Sample Asake podcast with me today. How are you guys doing?
We're good. We're feeling alright. Great. A good time.
All right, that's good. Without wasting much of their time, let us, try and get into it. Today, we'll be talking about Davido's first studio album that was released on the 31st of March 2023. The album, as you already know, is titled Timeless. But before we get into the album, let me just quickly ask Nelson. After the sad events that happened, Davido went off and he promised us new music in March. How much did you miss that Davido sound when it was off?
Yeah. To be sincere, the thing was, I didn't actually know how much I missed it until I started to hear his songs over and over again. So we're in a phase where there are a lot of music being put out there on a regular. So when somebody is missing for a short time, you might not really feel their presence. That okay, yeah, these guys are missing at the moment because they have so much music on ground already. There's so much you are digesting at the moment, and everywhere is just clustered up. But towards I think it was January or so. I started listening, to old school Davido songs like Darmie, and a couple of other songs like that, Ajay and all those, those really, really great songs. And I'm like, wow, I've really missed this guy, I need something new. I think for me, I'm just going to come out to say it, Lala on a better time, alongside CK was that particular song for me. I just always went back to it and I was listening to it over and over again. So then I started to realize that, oh yeah, I think I miss this guy, the music and everything. Of course, because I consume a lot of music, so I might not be one of those people that were really, really psyched about it, but I really wanted to get something new. So when he said he was going to drop something in March, I was really excited. But truth be told, I didn't think it was going to happen. I felt like it was just going to be one of those, this man still needs more time to, relax and get his head straight. But I think closer to the events, some things popped and, it happened. Even though I have some some other insider information, but all those things, man, it was really cool, really good to hear his voice again.
I wasn't really, really, really looking forward to a new Davido album. And that's just me. I'm not exactly a big fan. But of course, there's hysteria, not hysteria. There is hype. So when you see 5,000 people talking about a topic on your timeline or on the media or it's on the radio, you want to catch up. So based off of that, I could say, okay, yes, I want to hear what's coming, but I wasn't particularly excited about Davido dropping new work. Do I like the rollout or the title? The title caught me. I really like the idea of Timeless because a good time, a better time. It just felt really good, or it sounded great to have a word like timeless cap that trilogy or that trifecta or that run. So I like the title, but again, that's just minimally. I wasn't looking forward to a new Davido album, but I have select. Of course, for every artist, everyone has select songs. So if I wanted to do a Davido playlist or I want to listen to Davido, I have some fine songs from way back, from a good time, from a better time that I put together and I enjoy myself. Particularly, some features were really fire last year, especially Baddest Boy and Young John's Dada. Davido on those remixes were fire. So if I wanted to listen to Davido, I think that feature with Young John is probably one of my best songs last year. So I know where to go. I just wasn't looking forward to a new Davido album.
For me, well, I think I will lean towards more of, Nelson, listening to some of his songs, and also, of course, we know that all some of those features that Davido killed last year were like, okay, fine, maybe one or two Davido songs was not going to harm me, right? A new song, let's even see what's going to pop. But an album, to be honest, was not something I was even expecting when it was going to come back. I was expecting maybe just release one single first, see everywhere it's going to be, and then maybe we are going to release an album later. But yeah, the album is here. And like I said, the album is titled Timeless, and the album contains 17 tracks, and it features the likes of Skepta, Angelique, Kidjo, Asake, Focalistic, Musa Keys, Dexta Daps, Fave, Olori, and the Cavemen. The production of the album was done by Young Alpha, Blaisebeatz, Rore, Magicsticks, Sparrq, John P, Shizzi, Damien, Rage, Wonder Parton, which is very, very surprising for me, Rugged, Young Willies, Caltonic SA, and TJ. Now, Gwega, let us start with the production of the album. What will you say about the production of this album?
I think generally the album came out as regular. It's nothing really spectacular. Afrobeat sometimes can be monotonous. You can find that here. The Afrobeat jams, the Amapiano jams are pretty predictable. There's nothing. Okay, so I'm going to have to make a comparison. Loje's EP is an example of elite or different or one step higher production or artistic work, right? Loje really was in an R&B bag, was in a hip-hop type of bag. The Amapiano on Canada was different. The ad-libs from Mafuriza were elite. It's like Soweto by Wizkid from 5-10 years ago. Those are pockets that you cannot find in the songs that are already on the charts. This album, from Over Them to a song like Unavailable, those beats are exhausted. Like, I can name 5 songs that are already on that wave, and there's nothing really different about these tracks. It Pain Me Away, Precision, these are tracks that come off as too predictable or too available. That's an irony, unavailable, but these tracks are available. This sound is available already. It's out there. So again, I'm not saying Davido. I'm not particularly. I'm just judging generally. I'm not saying Davido should come out like Loje. Loje is a new. That's what, and I'm going to make this point later on the podcast. The new guys are the innovative ones. There's a boy that is doing covers now. Ricky Keys, I think, maybe Port Harcourt boy. Those boys are doing covers, and you just know that these young boys are the new kings in the game. Omale, who else? There's another guy that Victoni. These guys have the new pockets. They have the new keys. The OGs have to employ them to make these things work, right? Look at Fave on Kante. Fave is the soul of this album. So a lot of the production and the artistic direction of the album is pretty predictable. I would have loved to hear something grand or groundbreaking, but it's not here. So again, maybe it's the producers But like I said, Afrobeats is already the sound is the same for everyone. So to find a new pocket is what you call spectacular. So I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying that it's not groundbreaking. It's not new, right?
Okay, so let's assume that you are going to rate the production of the album over 10. What will your rating be?
Let's do 6, respectfully. Let's do 6.
Gwega and I are going to have like different takes on this. I have been open to, the new ways at which, all of these guys get to do their beats now. And to be honest, before I used to be more strict on them, and because of course I consume a lot of old school music, so I know how raw sound should be. I know how perfect, in quotes, sometimes it should be. But I think these guys of nowadays, I feel like they are trying to look for a way to make something that sells that is regular, but they always look for details that are different. For example, I feel like this production was crisp and well mixed and mastered. Now, for the depth or the creativity of the beats, I don't think they're like they're like the best. I'm sure they had more, but they just really wanted to like work with the simpler, the better. If you understand what I'm saying, I'm taking a different route because I feel like Boy Guy is going hard on them. I'm saying it sounds like regular. So I think this was made on purpose to go this way because you would not. I mean, we would be lying if we are saying that we know that these guys around, these guys around the video are not popping guys as well. Look at, and I have to connect also back to what Gwega said about, some of the beats. For example, the beats, Let It Be Lights by Zlatan and Shea Vibes. That beats, it's a one of a kind mashup, chaos, like, creative chaos and exciting. But I think for this particular album, the way they tailored the album, they really wanted it to be simple. And, I think a couple of times they tried to divert and do something, different and all. But I think they wanted that approach. So I would not be judging the beat on how creative it was, but how crisp it was. Sounded very well, properly mixed and mastered, sounded like a quality album. But in terms of the creativity, I wouldn't be like so much. I want to give a step back and say, let's give it to them that they wanted to be simple, and that's why they kept it this way.
Can I quickly make an addition? There is a one-off that I think is like stands out. It's a track that stands out on the album, and that's LCND, Legends Can Never Die. I think that's a little different from. Yeah, it's a little different from the theme or the sound on the entire album. And then again, I agree with Nelson. This may just have been calculated as let's keep it simple and indeed timeless. But from the critics' point of view, in terms of what I would like to hear, what I would like to enjoy, I wasn't looking at the simplicity when I said all those things. Again, creativity can be simple, but yeah, standout production, LCND's standout song, Kante. Let's keep going.
For those of you that might be listening and wondering why Gwega might be saying the production is nothing new, or the production might be, in terms of the creativity behind it, might be something that we've probably gotten exhausted with, is because if you listen to the album entirely, you could tell that majority of the sound there were amapiano influenced or inspired, whichever word you want to use. And then their creativity, there was a time they threw in reggae, dancehall, Afropop in between and all of that. But the baseline, the general outfield of the album has a lot of amapiano. I think I will lean towards Nelson in terms of how the production was done, because when I listened to the album, I'm like, okay, I think Davido just tried to keep it safe and simple, or just maybe the album, was an album that was done with the mindset of 2022, and they didn't really want to tweak too much of it and say, okay, this is 2023, let's try and rechange the sound and all of that. I mean, we didn't know what sound might be accepted in 2023 yet, so maybe they just wanted to keep it safe and keep it, simple. But again, just like we guys too rightly said, there might be one or two creativity that they could have thrown on. For me now, and I'll go to where I said I was surprised with, was the production of the song titled Now Money, the Cavemen featuring Angelique, which was produced by Banton. And I'm not even going to lie, I don't know how come, but this is the first time I'm noticing that Banton can produce. And having the fact that he produced that particular tune, I feel like, okay. I mean, I love the production of that song. I love how Angelique was able to blend into the song, fully. And also, again, Kante, like Bear rightly said, for me, the moment I listened to Kante, honestly speaking, for me, that was where, like, I think for the first two times I listened to, first second or third time that I listened to the album, Kante was where I was ending the album. Once I hear Kante, I go back to the beginning. I make sure I play Kante all over again, and because that was like my favorite song rather on the album. Now, Nelson, let me start with you with this. Since we are talking about the songs on the album, I wanted to do this with you guys because I felt like I was hearing one or two samples, on the album, and I just wanted to be sure, like, I mean, which other person to deal with, if not for the sample Asics guys. So let me ask you, I could hear some couple of Ice Prince sample, like the Juju part, that's the song featuring Skepta. There's also one that I think I heard on what's the name of that song right now? I think is It Depend Me, It Depend Me. And there's also one other one. I think that one is I don't know if it is Feel, that one that has something like Forever. I don't know, but help me on that. Was there any major sample that you could hear, or maybe it was just one or two lines that just borrowed and used on the album? And then also tell us, what songs would you say were your favorite song on the album, or the song that you felt shouldn't have made the album?
Let me start with this. I think there was more interpolation than sampling. Let me explain. Although they are the same thing, same meanings, but I think we use them differently nowadays. Even though interpolation and sampling can be used the same way, I think nowadays when it is less, like when it's like a lesser percentage that is being used for the sample, you say interpolation. When it is like properly sampled, you say sampling. For example, now that Juju, they do like Juju, They Worry Me. Of course, it reminds you of that song off Ice Prince album. Anytime I feel like saying, Juju, They Worry Me. I know if they explain this time. So of course, we got that as well. And It Depend Me. I kind of feel like that's more, something that you can actually push aside. And one thing I have to give to them, I have to say this is, there was a couple of interpolations on this album, but they are very hard to find. You have to listen carefully. Even on the Kante song, I was hearing a couple of, old music, the flow, the use of words. But I feel like these guys are really smart. They understand the art now, and it's really good for them. You understand? So apart from that, I don't think they did any major sampling. Although I've listened 4 times now. I think about 4 or 5 times I've listened to the album. So, some things about interpolation and sampling. You can't be too sure until you piece them together. So I'm still piecing them together. But for the few ones that you have caught, I have caught them as well. Especially that Juju, the first thing at the moment I heard it, I'm like, come on, this is so Ice Prince. But it's cool, it's fine, you understand? And I give it to them the way they did it. Proper stuff, great stuff. For me, the songs that I really like of the album, I would start with, because I'll start like chronologically as I can remember. I feel like Feel It, over them was cool for an opening, but Feel It was a great way to switch up from, that slow mode that we got into in the album. Feel It is a jam. And I feel like if I was in the room, I would have said, let's push the heck out of this, because I feel like this is a club banger. It would catch fire on its own. After Feel It, I would say, Kante. And I think Kante, to an extent, I don't like Kante as much as a lot of people like Kante. The song I really like, that I feel like, top song on that album, apart from Namoni, which I know that everybody likes, is Picasso. Picasso with Logos Olori. Yo, that song is a definite jam. That's a proper song. That's a song that might probably outlive the album if they can, do something with it. Maybe create a video, do an extra push on it. And LCND, Legends Can Never Die, classic. I think that encapsulates the timeless of the album. So I'll pick my 5, which is Feel, Namoni, Kante, Picasso, LCND. I don't think Champion Sound should have made that album, but I'm sure the heads that are there are probably better than me in terms of, curating music. So I'll leave that to them.
Okay, all right. I mean, I also have the feeling that Champion Sound should have made the album. Then I looked at them like, maybe Davido thought, the relationship between him and Focalistic, maybe that was why he just added it. Because for me, the way the album started, it started with Over Them, and like you rightly said, a good song to kick off the album, and then Legend Can Never Die automatically is the last song, at least that we've not heard on the album except from Champion Sound. So I felt that should have ended, the album. Then you had Champion Sound, which I felt like they should have just written bonus tracks, so we know that okay, it's not originally part of the body of the work, but hey, it is what it is. Boyega, let's talk for you. Let me talk about the collaborations. Let's talk about which artist would you say, okay, this artist really came through on this song, and also what song would you say, are your favorites?
Okay, so my favorite songs, I think I have 4 or more. Actually, I have not spinned the album as much as most people, so I may be sleeping on some hits. No Competition was the first I heard. I think No Competition is a cool song, is a good song. I think Asake came through with his verse, but as the song in totality, I don't know if it's special. Forgive me, but I think that's one of the best songs on the album. Legends Can Never Die, that's my best song. I particularly love that. I love Kante because of it has very good replay value. Fave has a thing with her voice that is just special. Now that Nelson mentioned Picasso, I think I see the art that is done in Picasso. No pun intended. So the artistic expression, especially with Logos Olori, his verse was pretty sleek. I think the words or the lyrics on the song is not what makes it. It's the production. There's something subtle and gentle about the production that is just. That's what I mean when I say I want to hear something different from regular Afrobeats. This is like, who's gonna know by the end of the night? That's a different ball game from what we knew Wizkid. So Frames is one of those tracks that you're pushing to a different angle. You're bringing out something new. So I appreciate that. Godfather got me on first listen. I think I like the lyrics. Some of the lyrics, enjoyment is a must, stuff like that. I like Godfather. So Godfather, Kante, Picasso, Legends Can Never Die, and No Competition. That would be my top 5 for now. But like I said, I know I have knocked this album in my first comments, but looking at the way we have continued to have this conversation now, I see that continuously listening to this album, you discover new gems. Namoni is still there. Precision is still there. Juju. So these are songs that would grow on you as you listen more. Look at Unavailable now with the dance steps that you have seen online, on your timeline, on Twitter, on TikTok, with the video that just dropped, with the rollout, with the emotions, you will like it the more. And when they do that with 2 more tracks and maybe a few performances or maybe a few more celebrity cosigns and all that, you see that these tracks are actually not that bad. They may sound regular, like regular Afro beats or Afro piano, whatever, but over time, the album will come together. So if you are going on a trip from New York to New Jersey or Atlanta to Miami and you're driving for 10 hours and you're spinning this album over and over, you would see the beauty, you would enjoy it. I don't see the Cavemen hype yet. I haven't seen it. But I think that Logos Olori did a good job on Picasso. I think Asake did very well on Competition. I think Fave is the star of the album with what she did on Kante. And let me look for one more person. Musa Keys on Unavailable. I'm sorry, I'm not very impressed, but Yeah. We can add that. Yeah, Skepta was wilding on that song. What song was that?
Juju, you.
Yeah, Skepta's verse was very Nigerian, and that's superb. So yeah, Skepta really put the first one on us. Of course, we can't forget Angelique Kidjo. You see what I'm saying? When we start to sum it up together, when you listen 10 times, when you listen 25 times, when you attach emotions to it, when you see kids dancing to it, you see that this is actually a good body of work. It's just for me not striking the right. It's not a first time hit. You have to let it lean in. You have to let it sink for months before you enjoy the gems. But yeah, those guest artists really came through.
If there's one thing I kind of agree with you with the collaborations was when you said you did not really feel Musa Keys on Unavailable. I mean, the song is a good song, but honestly speaking, I also didn't really feel, that I just didn't feel that part of the song. And I felt like if I just allowed the beat just even play for this part, maybe I would have, enjoyed it better. But again, the song, is a very good song. I mean, the video is even out already, so you can guess probably that's like one major song they'll be pushing on the album. For me, some of my favorite songs on the album, like I rightly mentioned, Kante is my favorite song on the album. I mean, again, shout out to Fave. Fave really took me up on that song. And then Over Them, the first track, I also love Over Them. I love Legends Never Die. That's another song that I like. And surprisingly, the song titled Precision, for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe it's the lyrics of the chorus, but I just love, that song. Now, to round up this whole conversation, right, I want to ask, let me start with you, Gbega. Now, like you rightly said, this is not an album that you might probably say, oh, on the first listing, golden, solid, boom. But maybe when you listen to it for the second time, third time, and you begin to take each song as they come, then it begins to enter you and you say, okay, yes, Davido has probably made a timeless album, or maybe some songs on the album will become, some timeless song. So the question now is this: for a general rating, what is going to be your rating, of this album? That's number one. And then number two, I mean, this is almost like a norm for any top Nigerian artist right now. Talk about Whiskey, talk about Davido, talk about Burna Boy, and let's throw in Olamide in there somewhere, right? Whenever they release an album, let's say the Twitter people, for example, quote and unquote, there is going to be, oh, is this album going to get nominated for the Grammy, blah, 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 and stuff like that. So the question is, what will be your rating of the album in general? And then if you look at the album, will you say, okay, and this song might be that Grammy song, or nah, everything is just strictly Nigeria, no Grammy intended song on the album?
First of all, I have an agenda that we should stop obsessing over the Grammys. It's not for Nigerians, it's not for African music. They are the biggest platform in music worldwide. So when they acknowledge what Africa does in the realm of world music, and I think we keep forgetting that they're not giving us awards for African music. They don't know juju music. They don't know soukous. They don't know. Tell me the other genres. They don't know Fuji. They don't know the legendary stuff that Saheed Osupa does on Mushin Day. They cannot understand it. So what they do is they listen as outsiders to Pakistani music, South African music, Iranian music, Nigerian music, and they call it world music for whatever reason. There's a long history. And then they look at it and say, as outsiders, as Americans, as the academy, these are the songs that made it out of their country and made some kind of impact across the world. So we really need to stop obsessing over the Grammys. I need us to, it's some kind of imperialism that we need to fight. It's some kind of inferiority complex that needs to die. That's my agenda. Now, my rating of the album is, I think I would stick with 6/10. Again, we have not checked if there is a theme for this, if the timeless theme for this album runs through. Does it tick all the boxes? Is it uniform from A to Z? Can I connect Unavailable to Timeless? Do the lyrics on Picasso or For the Road, or does it come together? There are love songs here and there. So how does the Timeless thing work? So in the context of an album, I'm just going to say, because of the enjoyable feeling, which might eventually be the meaning that Timeless implies here. If it's about enjoyable music, yes, of course, you can even push my 6 to 6.5 or 7.5. But as an album in that rating, I think I'm just going to maintain 6. And yes, again, let's stop obsessing over the Grammys. I like what we're doing across the world. I like the fact that we are doing good numbers across the world, but we should not then make that into a question where we want to be on the Grammys every other year. Yes, we would be nominated for tracks that fit the bill. I'm not sure I'm right. They're planning to create an Afrobeat section or Afrobeat category, whether 1 or 2, whatever. Let's not forget that that's just the Grammys. At home, our music has meaning to people. So let me not talk too much. Overall, I'm going to maintain a 6/10.
Well, I really don't. I agree with Boyega. I don't think Davido needs a Grammy. I feel like he's a legend. He has done his beat. He has done his part. He would continually be in the music sphere and make proper music. He's that guy. He's the music man. He's the Afrobeat legend. He's the music god for a lot of people. So I think he will continue to do that. Should he get a Grammy, it would not change his stance in the eyes of the continent. You understand? If he doesn't get, it still doesn't change anything. I'm sure it will be a great addition to his list of awards, of over 40 awards he has gotten over the years. I'm sure he will be glad to get it, but I really don't think we should look at our legends or rate them in that certain way. I think it's already becoming a norm right now that, a Grammy nomination or this and that would put you, up there on the list. I really don't feel like that should be a thing, especially for someone like Davido that has done so much for the music industry, that's put the music out there for so many years. So yeah. Now for the album being timeless, using the name exactly, I think, you would pardon me and say that you can't actually say an album is timeless until it has gone beyond a specific time, maybe like a generation or a decade or 5 years, and the album is not even a year old yet. So I think a couple of songs would stand out, but I personally feel like, he has dropped more timeless music. So I don't know. I feel like it would be very hasty for me to say this one is going to be a timeless album. I would like to see maybe what happens. Maybe if we have this conversation in a year, then I'll be able to give you a proper answer on that particular one. But I think the album is good and, well put together. If I was going to score it, I would give it like 7/10. 7/10 for so many reasons. And I feel like this is me being biased because I know there's a picture of a Davido album in my head somewhere. That album might never come to fruition, that might never happen, but there's a way I see a Davido album, you understand? And I have not seen that yet, but I'm going to take this opportunity to say big shout out to everybody who worked on the album, from the producers to the A&R to the to the art directors, to the people that wrote 1 or 2 lines, people that produced, every single person that had their hands on the album. Big ups to all of them. They made a proper album.
Okay, so Boyega has said he's going to give the album a 6/10, and that Twitter people, you should stop farming about Grammy. It's not your award. Leave this for the people that owns it. And for Nelson, he's going to give the album a 7/10, and also in line with Boyega saying, Grammy or no Grammy, Davido is still, a legend. I think one thing I like most about this Davido's album, if I'm going to be honest, is the calmness that came with this album. A lot of Davido songs, that we've probably been listening to, there's always this, I don't want to say this, I don't know, but there's always this kind of hyper sound in it, in this album, I'm not sure I really heard this his old, all those excessive noise. It was,
that's the timeless part. That's the timeless
exactly. And I'm not going to lie, I think that was one of the major things that really made me enjoy the album so much, because it felt so calm and it was easy to listen to for me, and I really enjoyed it. And obviously, if I'm going to rate the album, I'm also going to give the album, a 7 over 10, because I feel like, there were some songs that I feel like, don't say the song no good though, but if the song had come out as a single, the song feel no make count. But the fact that the song did part of the album, we accept it, and we move on like that.
A quick disclaimer.
Okay.
My Grammy rant or my Grammy position, I do not, just to add, I should have added this. I do not think, okay, maybe I'm wrong with this, but let me just say it. I do not think Davido had or is plotting the Grammys with this album. I don't think so. I think he just wanted to make something to follow his A Good Time, A Better Time albums, something relaxing. Again, the album had been recorded before the situation happened, the sad incident, and I think he took off pressure off himself. I would like to believe that he's not chasing the Grammys with this album.
Once again, Gbega and Nelson, thank you very much for always coming through every time we have to do this. Even though this recording that we are doing right now, it's again as it take happen, but then again, we are here doing what we love doing best. And once again, I need to appreciate you guys, for coming through. And I need to ask, as a fan, please, when is the next episode of Sample Houses dropping, please? I'm tired of waiting.
Nelson, answer.
I think this is on me. I want to apologize to everybody. It's mostly on me because I've been really busy for the past 3+ months. But I'm almost wrapping up with my current program. So surely you guys would get a new episode very soon. And don't worry, it's going to be back to back from that. I'm the one that is holding us back. I have a program I'm currently running, so make good no vex.
For every loyal fan of the Sample Houses podcast, please pardon my guys. They will soon be back, and we'll be having back-to-back episode. That being said, we've come to the end of this episode of the Cha-Cha album review series. Like you already know, my name is Hafeestonova, your musical plug, creator of the Energy Force. So come your way with another episode. I say keep the energy, keep it 100, and keep it positive. Peace out.
Cha-cha time, 2 time for the Cha-Cha gang. Give me the Cha-Cha gang. Rockin' with the best, the Cha-Cha gang. Give me the Cha-Cha gang. Alaye la wa Cha-Cha gang. Give me the Cha-Cha gang. Wati my bro, the Cha-Cha